this is working. Let's go to this and this. All right, what's up, everybody? In today's video, all right, I just wanted to come on here quickly and bitch about a couple things. Holy cow. Had a crazy weekend so far. And there's some stuff I want to talk about that's been going on in the news. And, well, not so much like, I don't watch the news, but, you know, the sheep are talking about it, so now I feel I have to talk about it. My grandma wears Estee Lauder, so I wear Estee Lauder. No. Okay, first thing first. I have two family. Oh, first things first, actually. Sacha and I are starting up our live stream again. It's going to be on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. We're starting this Wednesday at 10 a.m. CST. Come check it out. You know, we love it so much. We took the summer off, and now we're going to try starting it up again. There are things to talk about, and yeah, I'm super excited. So there's that. Now, I have two family members that got laid off in the past week that work for banks, and they got laid off because they're like loan officers. That there's no loans, no one's applying for loans right now, and they haven't been for months now, I guess, once they hiked interest rates. So they got laid off. Like, from what I was hearing yesterday, it's a pretty scary situation. What's happening in the financial world, and how this is all going to sort of, it's going to be a crazy, till Pluto gets to Aquarius next spring. Like, this is going to be freaking nuts. But yeah, so sadly they are laid off. There's just no work for them because no one's applying for loans because of interest rates. So that's pretty scary. But speaking of loans, the whole student loan fiasco that's happening right now, like, my opinion on it is, I think Ramsey Paul, who we love so much, I would agree with his analysis of the whole thing. Like, the government shouldn't have gotten involved in the first place, the exclusivity of loans. And yeah, he nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. And my thing would be that this student loan thing just causes more and more generational divide and unease. It's boomers versus millennials, you know, and it's just causing, you know, a greater rift. But what blows my mind is, like, people do bitch about like the foreign aid we give, but like other than like the COVID checks, like, this is like one of the first times where like Americans are actually getting like their own money. Like, obviously it's like a scam, but because we have to pay for it anyways. But it's like, okay, finally the money is like staying in an insular fashion, you know, and it's going to your neighbor and your cousin and your daughter, you know. But when it goes off to Ukraine or Israel or any one of these motherfucking leeches, they like, well, they'll be like, oh yeah, well, you know, like, they don't like it, obviously, but they don't bitch about it like they do with this student loan thing. So that's why people talk about things like civil war and everything like that. And it's just, like, people are upset with their own neighbors. And so we're in a prison, you know, we're in a prison, and right now some of the inmates are getting a little extra food and some of them aren't, you know. There's a solidarity when both of those groups aren't getting extra food and that extra food is being shipped off to some other prison. There's solidarity and their suffering, you know. But once some of the inmates get certain treatment over the other inmates in this prison called America, the global American empire, then they get, you know, respectively and logically so, they get a little bit uneasy. And I really heard it at the beach on Friday. There was this group of boomers. I told you, I think, in my previous live stream, how I've been like asking people around here. The last time I was at the lake, and I had this great conversation with those boomers. But this boomer was like on one, and I very quickly realized this is not something I want to sort of engage in, especially as he was kind of like pointing over to me as just sort of like the millennial. It was really bad. But he's like a Trumper, you know. Trump was our last great hope and all of that stuff. But he doesn't have like a fucking clue. You know, he hates millennials so much and everything like that. But he doesn't see like the big picture. And one of the people that, you know, thinks they can vote their way out of this, etc. And going back to, like, again, the student loan thing, it just makes these people like even more pissed off at a different American generation. You know, a white American generation, because that's what you think of when you use generational terms. Anyways, so the Boomer Beach the boomer at the beach was like on a level, and it pisses me off because like I don't go to the beach to talk. I don't want to hear that stuff in the first place, you know. And he was talking very loudly and just sort of, you know, looking over here, looking over there, and just he was one of those people who was like looking for a fight, which I totally understand because I get in that mood sometimes where I'm just like looking for someone to just go at it with. Fight, fuck, fight, fuck, fight, fuck. But yeah, so people are very, very, very upset about the student loan thing. And again, you know, like we get it, we get it, we get it. But they also will say, well, yeah, take the money. You know, it's not like you're going to like reject the money. Just as like a stupid, unnecessary, like, I don't know. The whole college thing is a joke. If anything, the money should be coming straight from the pockets of these admins and these bureaucrats that have been living off $100,000 plus salaries for doing absolutely nothing, just sitting behind some desk as like account. The college thing is such a joke, you know. But again, the boomer generation and like my parents' generation, they very much like go to them along, like you better go to college, otherwise you're gonna be one of those freaks, one of those hippie freaks that doesn't go to college, you know what I mean? And it was more so appeasing their community of peers to make sure all their kids got off to college so they can be, you know, a normal bourgeois family. And maybe if they cared a little bit less about what other people thought and thought for themselves, we wouldn't be in this fucking situation. But again, no blame, no blame. We all have our part to play. The whole IRS being armed too is frightening, but it's also like for me, I'm like, gotta keep my head, because they're like literally just like goading and begging people into, you know, like not paying their taxes, etc. And rightfully so. But the whole the IRS thing is very, very scary. And I think from what I've seen, especially after that Mar-a-Lago raid psyop, I think we're just going to see false flag after false flag after false flag. You know, some FBI agent home is going to be targeted, or some IRS agents are going to be targeted. You know, it'll be this fake thing so that they can gain sympathy and victim status. You know, as they abuse you. Very, very sick country America is right now. Um, Again, I have to be kind of quick here. Gabby Hanna, just like some last comments on that situation. I haven't really followed anything since my last video, but this is just a note from what I was thinking about. Is that people, unless you like act in this very like specific way and exhibit these specific sort of behaviors, if you move outside of those parameters, people are like, "What's wrong with you? Like, what's wrong with your mental health? You know, are you having a manic episode? You know what I mean?" And it's very scary. You know, they'll anything that's not like, "Oh, did you watch Euphoria?" or like just like endlessly scrolling through your fucking phone. Like, if you're not doing that, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you, you know, and your mental health is causing me mental health issues, you know. So we have to send you away because, you know, you're just too much. You're too crazy. You're too crazy. What do you mean you haven't watched Euphoria? You know, it's just, you know. So if you don't operate in these sort of parameters, or that's why I do. Uh, hmm, we won't go in that today. We don't have the time. We need two men on that. There's no time. There's no time. But yeah, about the Gabby Hanna thing, I guess like similar to the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing, instead of being swatted, it was like all these people calling like the LA police to go perform a wellness check on her. And first of all, that like that verbiage like freaks me out in the first place. That like you can call in to have like someone do a wellness check on you, like it almost gives you like shivers, you know, because they use like words like that. But it's what was interesting is that Gabby, after confirming like obviously she's okay and blah blah blah, she like asked these officers, she's like individually, each one of them, she's like, well, can I have a hug, you know? And each one of them said no. And it's so fascinating to me because they're always pushing for like social workers and more like humanitarian responses rather than just shooting the bitch, you know. And so she's asking these people who are there to perform a wellness check on her for a hug, and they're like, no. And like rightfully so, you know, I don't want someone to fucking touch me. But do you think if it's your job as like some sort of like social worker, officer, wellness check person, you should probably be comfortable with like human to human contact or something, you know? Like she even like jokingly said like that hug probably could have saved my life, you know, if she was like suicidal or something. And it's just very crazy to me, very crazy. I hate that term wellness check. I think that is so dystopian and like, ugh, it literally is like gives me shivers. I don't really know why. I just think it's so fucking sick, you know. And then to under that guise of we're just checking on your wellness, and then being like, oh, can I have a hug? And they're like, no. And it's just so fascinating, so fascinating. Anyways, I think I'm gonna leave it there for today. Like I said, me and Sacha are starting our live stream. That'll be on Sacha's channel, Sacha's Toy Chest. If you don't already follow her, obviously go on there. And Wednesdays we'll probably go for like an hour or so, just sort of catch up, see what's been going on. Wednesday, 10 a.m. CST. Also, House of the Dragon episode 2 is on tonight. Honestly, this week, I haven't even really been like, I mean, I'm like looking forward to like watching it, but not like counting down the minutes, because I'm just kind of like, we'll see how this goes. And I think between this episode and the next one, I think it's really going to tell sort of where this whole thing is heading. I don't know. But that's on tonight, and so I'll be watching that and doing a stream on my thoughts about that tomorrow, hopefully. Any of the Game of Thrones fans knows that there's like the whole like joke about subverting expectations or whatever. And I saw this one thread online that was saying like they're pushing all the wokeism and the feminism so early now to then like subvert the expectations later to be like, maybe we blah 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 blah. But that is, in my opinion, wishful thinking, because even the one Ryan Conley, whatever that fucking fool director's name is, he's one of those like anti-white people. There's too many white people in these films and blah 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 blah. Anyways, I have to go. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a lovely rest of your Sunday, and I'll talk to you all soon. Love you so much. Bye.